Hey everybody, I'm Chuck, he's Jason, that's Teaser. It's another episode of Bookends. We're here at Sunset Station. First we're going to recap a little bit of last weekend. Divisional round was fun, Jay. I mean, you had favorites that went 2-2. You guys did phenomenal on the Packers and over. Clearly the best game of the weekend for the guests. You had a lot of Bucs money line play. They did well on that as well. We didn't know for sure were the Chiefs going to advance once Patrick Mahomes got hurt. They did squeak that game out. And then the Bills, who has been red hot, I think 8 straight wins. They're covering. That offense is clicking. They're a fun team to watch. And as we get into the championship week now, you've got 4 really good, talented quarterbacks. But the divisional round was fun.
Yeah, I think the unders was kind of the key for us.
Definitely.
We saw some lower scoring games, and you brought it up that bettors cashed in on the Packers. We actually saw some sharp money on the Rams early in the week, and so that drove that number from the Packers being a 7-point favorite down to 6.5. And for those of you, everybody got that 6.5 and jumped back in and brought it all the way back up to 7. But by far, the Packers were the big game for the public to continue to cash in on this week. And as we rolled this week, we've got 2 totals that are above 50. I think that as we look at the forecast in Green Bay and in Kansas City, that we're expecting cold weather with potential snow flurries or early snow, especially in Green Bay prior to game time. We'll see if that snow rolls into game time. So some weather that may play a part in the totals this week.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The unders were the key. 3 of the 4 games went under. I think that was the big difference as we saw some action on those games, tied to the favorites. But the under was really the key.
And the Bills from the standpoint of
Raven teasers.
The teasers.
Right,
the Bills game went so far under, and there was a lot of money on the Ravens teasers. Obviously, taking them up to a 10-point underdog. Right. Expected to stay in that game, and obviously that 101-yard interception return went a long way in killing those Ravens teasers.
Yeah, absolutely did. Bills are a fun team. I mean, they really are. We're going to touch on the game in the NFC first, and that's Packers and Bucs. I mean, how much fun is that? I mean, you can make a case that these are 2 of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. We know Rodgers. He's looking for that second ring. Brady has gone to 13 AFC Championship games with the Patriots. We know how many Super Bowls he's gone to and how good he's been. But the Packers at home, they're different. This is the first time that Aaron Rodgers will actually host a championship game in Lambeau Field. They were 7-1 back-to-back years during the regular season at home. He is 78-19-1 in his career at Lambeau. That's a pretty impressive record, and he wants that second ring. I mean, you talk about a guy that they've already started talking about it. How much longer will he be in Green Bay? When is Jordan Love going to take over? He was the guy that sat in the green room draft day. Another Super Bowl ring. Doesn't that separate him from Brett Favre a little bit, as he's that guy in Green Bay? I mean, they talk about Bart Starr, and then you've got Favre and Aaron Rodgers, but that would be a second ring for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and obviously the winning that championship does things, and it's hard to, we continuously look back at players of the past in all sports and compare things, and I think, from a statistical standpoint.
Different eras.
Yeah. The game's just changed. In every sport you talk about, from basketball comparing Jordan to LeBron, and it's just they're both,
I'll get in that discussion with you anytime.
I know we'll get in that discussion, but again,
Right.
It's just different eras and
Right.
the way the games are played, and today's game is so much more of a passing game than it was a running game just 10 years ago, and a defensive game, and but yeah, I mean we're both not Green Bay Packer fans. As growing up in Chicago, we're
Right.
both Bears fans, and the Packers have really been the angst of both of us. But Rodgers has done this, and they've been incredible, and they seem to have been just getting better. To again, that last week against the Rams team that had that number 1 defense that had shut Russell Wilson down, and Ramsey to shut these guys down, and really Green Bay did whatever they wanted to do, and I mean there was a drop touchdown pass by Valdez-Scantling, and so it could have been a lot worse than what it was. The Packers really seem to be clicking on all cylinders. They're probably hoping that there is some weather that potentially comes in. I don't know if all those guys from Tampa. I know
it's not going to affect Brady.
Touchdown Tom can
Right,
play in the
yeah.
cold weather, but I don't know the rest of those guys coming up from Tampa, if they would want to see snow or not. And obviously the Packers played that great snow game against Tennessee just 3 weeks ago. But this is a team that beat them 38-10 in Week 6.
But trailed 10-0.
Yeah, Packers jumped out to an early 10-0 lead,
Right.
and then had back-to-back possessions with an interception that got returned for a touchdown on a pass to Adams that he really didn't go back and get the ball. There was the potential for him to go back and get that ball, and that interception wouldn't happen. And then the very next series, a ball went on Devontae Adams' hands, got deflected, and back into Tampa's hand for another interception that they ran down to the 5. And it kind of just steamrolled from there. The Ronald Jones, I think, ran for over 120 yards in that game after they took the lead. And I think statistically, that was like the third worst completion percentage game for Rodgers
right.
in that game after they got down. So that secondary for the Bucs seemed to have his number in that game. But the secondary for the Bucs has really been the problem.
They played that way against Drew Brees as well. I mean,
Yep.
I think that was the difference. It wasn't as much Tom Brady in that game against the Saints. I think it was that defense that just really put a lot of pressure on Brees and kind of locked down Michael Thomas and Kamara, and was the difference in that game.
Well, they're Tampa's that number one rushing defense. They may even get Vea back to even strengthen.
It looks like they will
strengthen that number one rushing defense. So I don't expect the Green Bay to run the ball a lot here or run the ball effectively. I think it's going to be in Rodgers' hands, and they're going to sling the ball around. And 75% of the yards that come against Tampa come through the air. So they are beatable through the air if you can get those passes off. That pass rush is really good, and that's what Rodgers struggled with last time. But I think that this is a special Rodgers team, and we'll see what Adams. He didn't have a particularly good game, but I think that the supporting cast of the Tanyan and Lazard and Valdez-Scantling, I think that there may be openings for those guys as well.
They can use. I mean, they're really talented now.
Yeah,
with Dillon
Jones out of the
Jones
backfield,
and Williams. They've got 3 guys there. I think it's interesting you said that about the Packers and kind of the pass rush from Tampa, because Aaron Rodgers threw 5 interceptions this year. He threw 2 against Tampa in that game, and 1 was the pick 6. So if there's any team or a defense that maybe you can say had his number a bit, it would be Tampa's defense. And again, they were losing that game 10-0. And I know we kind of talked about it. Wow, Green Bay got off to such a hot start, and then it changed on a dime. But you talk about Brady too. I mean, 13 times with the Patriots. He's in the AFC Championship game. This is the first time in his career that he's been a wild card quarterback. He had to win on the road in Washington, win on the road against the Saints. Now he plays in Lambeau Field, and if he wins this game, he becomes the first quarterback ever to play in his home stadium on Super Bowl Sunday. So I think you look at both these guys; they're so talented. I mean, from our side of the counter, I think from the guest side, the network, the league, you couldn't have asked for a better matchup in the NFC than having Brady against Rodgers, a number hovering around a field goal, a high total, possible snow, and in Lambeau Field. It's like a perfect storm as far as everything goes for the bettors.
Yeah, and the only other thing on the Tampa side of things, obviously they seem to have they've gotten better as Antonio Brown has developed more into this offense, and Godwin and Evans and Gronk and Cameron Brate. So they've definitely got a lot of those offensive weapons. And now you've seen Leonard Fournette play a little bit better over the last couple of weeks. Ronald Jones, that fingers healing up, the knees getting better, so you might see him take a little bit more of that offense over. And I think that you're going to want to see from a Tampa standpoint that they want to run the ball, they want to control the clock, that we're going to continue to see Fournette or Jones bang that ball away, and then Brady will take his shots where he needs them. But remember, on the Tampa side of things, they are playing their third road game in a row here as they went to Washington in that first wild card game, then in New Orleans. And so that's not normally a road for success, but obviously if anybody can overcome it, it would be Brady and this offense. And the defense is really, you talked about it, the defense is going to be the key. If they can get that pressure on Rodgers and slow that offense down a little bit and don't put this game into shootout mode, I think that's going to bode well for Tampa.
Before we jump into the AFC game, the one question that I've been asked a lot is, who do you think kind of got the better of it, with Brady and Belichick after that Brady left New England? I don't think you can really judge it on 1 year. If it's 1 year, of course you're going to say Brady went to a much better situation. You look at the skill position players that they had there. They added Antonio Brown and Gronk and Fournette. He's in a much better spot, I think, than Belichick. But I really think it's time. Maybe 3 to 5 years from now, we'll be able to judge and say, I mean, Belichick went into this year knowing that he had guys that had left the team, knowing he had some skill position players he had to fill those spots for. I think it's going to take 3 to 5 years, and there's no guarantee that Tampa wins Sunday, and there's no guarantee they ever get back to the playoffs again with Brady or get this far. So I think it's more of a 3 or 5 year kind of gauge more than it's easy to say right now. I mean, everyone's like, oh, Brady got the best of it. I think only time will tell.
Would Brady staying in New England have had a much different result in New England this year? I mean, that team,
I think they would have been better.
They suffered a terrible number of injuries. Obviously, the resurgence of the Bills and the Dolphins, led that AFC East to some new blood and new things. They probably would have still had success, not the success that Tom's had down in Tampa. But if he wins the Super Bowl this year, it'll separate it for
if
all
he wins,
time.
Though, but I'm saying,
was the greatest
but
move.
When was the last time, though, in the AFC East that the Bills and the Dolphins were so good? So it hadn't happened for such a long time. But anyway, it's kind of an interesting discussion point, I think, with those two guys. We're going to jump to the AFC now, and this is a fun matchup, too. I mean, you talk about Josh Allen and what a remarkable turnaround after his first 2 years, near the bottom in completion percentage this year in the top 5. For me, he's one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. I think he should be in that discussion with Aaron Rodgers. They go out and make the big trade for Stephon Diggs. I think Minnesota kind of felt, hey, we're just kind of sending him as far away as we can. He has been just a great teammate there. You've got Cole Beasley, you got Smokey Brown, a couple of talented running backs, but Allen, to me, is that quarterback that can win Super Bowls. He's kind of got that moxie. Only 3 quarterbacks this year threw for 4,500 yards and had 35 touchdowns. The other 2 happened to be Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. So you put a guy like Allen in that category. He's a talented young quarterback. We know how good the Chiefs are. Mahomes won't be 100%. I do think he starts. But we have seen some money come in on Buffalo in this game.
Yeah, and I'll start with Allen, and I think the big difference, I think Josh Allen was the same quarterback that he was the year before, but Stephon Diggs is the reason that he's excelled into the top of the AFC and the top of the NFL from a quarterback standpoint. I think that we saw...
His completion percentage did go way up, though. I agree. I mean, Diggs is
a
difference maker.
We saw a shell of who Stephon Diggs could have been when he was in Minnesota with Cousins and the way that offense run first. And so coming to this offense where Buffalo is willing to throw the ball around, and then the emergence of Beasley and John Brown and the running backs, but this is going to be a game they're going to have to score. There's no doubt they're going to have to try and have to match wits with Kansas City and see how much that defense is able to slow the Chiefs down. They were unable to cover Travis Kelce in the first matchup. Strangely enough, the week that the Bucs beat up the Packers 38-10 was week 6, and in that same week 6 we saw Kansas City make the trip to Buffalo. So
right.
The matchups this week were the same as they were in week 6. But the Chiefs beat them
26-17, right?
26-17. Kelce had 2 touchdowns, had a good game. Really, Hill was kind of taken out of the game. They really didn't. Hardman was the other leading receiver for the Chiefs that day. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a huge game. I think he rushed for 161 yards. I think that the weather...
He hasn't been healthy for 2 months.
Super, super windy in Buffalo that day, so the passing yards were really down. I think that Allen and Mahomes were both under like 180 passing yards, but again, it was very challenging situations. You brought it up that this is going to be whether it's Mahomes healthy, how's the toe, how's his head, is everything good going there? There's also some, Watkins has been on the questionable list for them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be back, could be back, but Williams did a serviceable job, and I don't know how much you want to depend on your run game when you do have a Patrick Mahomes back there, but if he's not 100%, you might have to hand off a couple more times. But again, this one could come down to snow, and you talked about seeing Bills money. We had this line 4.5 kind of before.
That's what I was going to ask you. If Mahomes was healthy all along, where do you think we would have seen this game?
I think it would have been 4.5, 5, maybe even a hair higher. But with his being question mark, obviously we opened it a hair lower. It got bet down to 3 with the fact that he practiced yesterday. We went up to 3.5, and we found some Bills money.
Yep.
There was some action on the Bills taking the 3.5, and we find ourselves back at 3. And I still think
we might not know until Friday or Saturday for sure. I mean, I think everybody thinks he's going to play, but
I think he's going to practice. We're going to see him get more
will
and more
he be
practice time.
though?
It's just when he gets that full clarification of getting through all the concussion protocols that he's going to be announced that he's going to play, and that might not come till Saturday or even Sunday morning with the way that the league works.
Yeah, it'll be curious. I think when you looked at that game, that you would have probably seen it at maybe 4 or 4.5, like you said. I don't know if it gets much higher than that. You're talking about a Kansas City team that hasn't covered, I think, in 9 straight weeks. Their last cover came against the Jets, which a lot of people were covering against the Jets at that point. So they've still been a really good team, and you look at that record of 14-2 and how good Andy Reid is there, but they haven't been covering. So from the guest side of it, they haven't been cashing a lot of tickets
they're
on
kind
Kansas
of
City,
jumping off that
but they
Chiefs
have
bandwagon.
been cashing a lot of tickets on Buffalo. So it'll be interesting to see, if we do get higher, if we get word that, hey, Mahomes is definitely playing, he practiced in full, say today and tomorrow, that if that number does start to creep back up to 3.5 or 4, do you start to see an onslaught of Bills money come in because of that value with the Bills, maybe because Kansas City hasn't covered now for such a long stretch?
Yeah, and Kansas City last week we talked about Andy Reid coming off a bye, was 23-3 and a 10-point favorite over Cleveland, and that Cleveland secondary that kind of really struggles on the back end to stop receivers, and they did an adequate job of keeping themselves in that
Higgins
game.
doesn't fumble, who knows?
Yeah, we're one fumble away from the Cleveland being in that game and having a chance to win and be talking about the Browns in the AFC Championship this week. So, Kansas City is just when they put it all together, they're a good team, and they just haven't been able to kind of get there week over week. But I think that this is what they've been waiting for. When you win Super Bowls and are constantly in championships and you can taste it again, the cream kind of rises to the top when you get this close to where we're at.
And there's a reason Mahomes got that deal. I mean, it's an unbelievable deal. I mean, he's such a talented quarterback. They've got a lot of talent around him. This is an opportunity for Josh Allen to make a name for himself. First time since 1995 that the Bills are in the AFC title game.
The only thing I want to bring up there, again, the Bills are going to be playing their third game. They had both their games at home.
At home, right.
They're going to be making their first trip on the road in the playoffs. The other thing is they were really outplayed in both of their two playoff games. I mean, if you go back and look at the Colts game, the Colts were in the red zone with every offensive possession, missed on a 4th and 2, missed on a field goal.
Yeah.
The Ravens, I think, rushed for over 180 yards and outgained them.
But they did keep Jackson in check.
Yeah.
I mean, they were able to take away the big piece there.
That's not what the Ravens want to do. The Ravens want to continue to run the football, and they were able to do that, have success. If it's not for the big interception return.
And they're in the red zone when that happens.
That game. We had Tucker with 2
missed field goals.
Doinks field goals. So the Bills have found some luck in getting through both these games of the Colts and the Ravens, and we'll see if that luck can continue.
Yeah, I think championship game is going to be great. It's just really 4 offensive-minded teams, which is going to be kind of fun to watch. Hope we get kind of the green light and hear something on Mahomes that we know that he's playing. Although I think that he will play.
And the best part about it is I look forward. Even though we're not through this week, I look forward to next week of starting to build all these props and come up with all the props.
Right.
And all 4 of these teams.
We've already started talking about it.
All 4 of these teams have so many guys that get involved in the game, from receivers and running backs, that this year's
it's an
props
offensive
are going to be
bonanza, I think, as far as the props go.
Absolutely fantastic on the prop side of things. And even on the defensive side, we've got a lot of guys, from a sacks and interception, some big names on the defensive side of the football.
Yep.
So I really think the props are going to be exciting. And that, kind of leads me into, STN Sports and STN Sports Mobile is don't wait. Don't wait for that sign up for Super Bowl week.
Every prop will be on the app, right?
Come in the book and get signed up now. You're so many years we've been looking at that 25 and 30 pages of the prop packet, and you come in and you look for your props and you find your prop and the prices have moved, or you don't know what those lines are, and we're going to have those prop sheets, but in the palm of your hand, on your phone, you can look up the thousands of props at the actual price that they're at, be able to bet them. The money goes back in. You're not in line for Super Bowl Sunday. You're not in line cashing tickets on Sunday night or Monday morning. It's all in the palm of your hand on your phone. So I can't encourage you enough to social distance properly, get yourself signed up for the app, and be able to play Super Bowl from the seat of your kitchen table or on your couch or wherever you may be. But now's the time.
We will definitely still have the packets in the book, and I know they're such a hot commodity. We always put them on kind of colored paper to distinguish what they are, and guests are always walking around with those packets in their hand. But like Jay said, now's such a great time to get signed up for STN Mobile. We still have the up to $100 bonus going on. It really does bring the sportsbook to the palm of your hand, but it's not just about football. I mean, you've got a huge UFC fight this weekend in Fight Island with Poirier and McGregor, and there's some rumblings that if McGregor looks really good in this fight, that he would get Khabib to come out of retirement, and they may have a mega event at some point. But this is a huge UFC event. McGregor's a little over, I think, a 3-1 favorite. Yep. You've seen a lot of action on the under as far as the rounds go, but it's a huge UFC card, and that's just a mega event.
Yeah, there's some other good fights on the card. It's not just a one-fight card. We've got a couple of great women's bouts, and Rivas and Rodriguez, Hooker and Chandler from the men's side of things, but this is interesting. The McGregor fight is interesting just because I keep seeing that 2.5 rounds under minus $1.90, and asking myself, McGregor, dropping back down to lightweight from fighting at the welterweight. What does that look like? The last time he fought there was against Khabib. Poirier.
Action has been on the under though,
yep.
So but
I don't think he's going to be intimidated here the second time, and he's done nothing but get better. And then where does the UFC go from here? You look at like you talked about. Does Khabib come out of retirement? But just an awesome UFC fight card.
I think he does. I think
Saturday is going to be just a gold mine of sports.
Right.
Go ahead and finish your thought on the fight.
Yeah, I think Khabib. I mean, I think, what is he, 29 fights? Is that where he's at? And I think it would be, would he fight that 30th time? I think if he has an opportunity and it's McGregor and it's a mega event like that.
The paydays.
Yeah, I think Khabib would definitely look at that. So,
but Saturday's also the Pegasus World Cup on the horse racing side of our business. business. An absolutely huge races down at Gulfstream on Saturday, a $3 million Grade 1 race, and then a $1 million turf race with some big horses and guys, names that you'll recognize that ran in Kentucky Derbies.
Twin Q that day, of
and
course.
Breeders' Cups. And so, on the horse side of things, again, if you don't have the horse side of the app, make sure you get the horse side of the app. And Saturday, come and enjoy the great racing from Gulfstream with the Pegasus World Cup.
And then also talking about sports in our own backyard, it's the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, they're 4-0. They've looked so impressive in those games. 3 of the 4 games they've covered on the puck line. 3 of the 4 games have gone over. Guests love them on the puck line. I think the key is that we didn't know for sure what the goalie split would be with that tandem, but so far it's been 50-50. Both guys look phenomenal. They've given up 7 goals in 4 games. They're giving up less than 2 goals per game. They can score. Their big free agent signing, Alex Bertangelo, got a goal. This team just looks like they're on a roll. Granted, all games have been at home, but the guests have been cashing tickets on them, and we've seen a robust handle on the Knights game so far.
We've lost on our side of the counter. We've lost 3 of those 4 games.
Those 4 games,
Only
right.
the game that they kind of stole from the Ducks. That
was 2-1 final?
In the overtime, the fact
yeah.
that they kept it under and didn't cover the puck line. And you talk about the defense has been really, really good, and with all due respect, Arizona and Anaheim are not two high-flying offenses, 2 teams that are going to be on the lower side of goal scoring. In particular, Arizona, who's really, really a good defensive team with great goaltending, much like the Knights, but not known for their scoring. And the Ducks are going to be at the bottom of that West. And so we'll see as they go to the road now if this Arizona team can regroup. But yeah, good to see Theodore put a couple pucks in the net and Pietrangelo get his first.
But that goalie
Stone had a great,
just so good.
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to continue to see the 50-50 split. I keep asking myself with these the cap problems and the fact that we're seeing forwards and defensemen and Haig and Kolesar and kind of shuffled in and out on who they have to play to not force Pietrangelo to play 29 minutes like he did in that first game. I just wonder if Fleury's going to continue to get more time so that they can show and feature him to maybe any suitors that are out there that, hey, this guy could still play. I don't know what team that is.
I think the league knows he can still play. I just think with 56 games in 116 days, so many back-to-backs, that I think goaltending's the key. I think you look at I think it's Dansk behind him as the emergency goalie on the taxi squad. There's just not a lot of experience there. So if you have to go into those back-to-back situations with a relatively young goaltender, is that something they want to do? I mean, the way they're playing right now, I mean, there was a reason they were co-favorites to win the cup. But that goalie tandem, I think, makes them the best team in the league, because nobody can roll out 2 goalies like that every single night.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see as they continue to roll when they start to play some of these better teams in the West. How that defense holds up and if the offense can keep rolling. And we've seen on the other side in the Eastern Conference, we've seen just goals galore from teams like Pittsburgh and Washington and Tampa. Right. They've been lighting the lamp a lot. So it's great to have hockey back, and the NBA's got full swing. We saw a major trade with Harden going to the Nets, and they suffered their first loss with that trio back against Cleveland last night. And we continue to roll there, and NBA's had a little bit more of the potential COVID kind of creeping into the NBA, as we're seeing a lot of guys rest or some guys out on a nightly basis, and so you got to keep your head on a swivel and kind of constantly be watching those lines in the NBA. But from everything as we sit here going into the final weeks of the NFL playoffs with college basketball and hockey and NBA, and I'm sure we're going to start talking about baseball here soon enough, and we're going to be presenting ourselves.
Can't talk enough about the Padres.
We know we know March Madness is going to be just around the corner, and as we're starting to get preparations for how they're going to run the tournament. So again, it's that perfect time to have the app, understand the funding options, everything that the app presents itself, and make sure you get yourself signed up.
We'll fill all you guys in on March Madness, but as Jay touched upon, it's kind of a different format this year. Is that you're going to see, like, I think it's those first couple of rounds. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then you have the Elite Eight actually played on a Monday, Tuesday. It's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So definitely some date changes. We'll make sure and get you guys filled in. But before we close out this segment, one of the questions that we've both been asked, and I think a lot of guests have kind of sent in as far as social goes, is after this weekend, depending on what the matchup is, what do you think the Super Bowl line's going to be? So let's start with the 2 teams that are favorite. So if it's Chiefs Packers and Mahomes is healthy and both teams get out of it and look good, I know we've talked about it, but what do you think, Chiefs-Packers?
We actually have it up. You can bet the AFC, NFC Super Bowl prop that we have up right now. We have the AFC 1.
That's kind of based on Chiefs-Packers.
Yeah, it's based on, you can't really base it on anything else other than the two favorites that are going to this game. And so we've got the AFC 1, and I think that's what this price would be if it was. And again, so much goes into how a team looks this week. If Kansas City comes out and blows the doors off Buffalo, or Green Bay just destroys Tampa, that's what the public sees last. There's obviously going to be that influence, to where if Kansas City really struggles to get through Buffalo and Green Bay goes and destroys Tampa, you could easily see the game be a pick'em or Green Bay won. But as of right now, with the way the teams are playing, I would say Chiefs won over the Packers.
So let's take it a step further now. So say Tampa wins. They go into Green Bay. They win 3 road games now. It's Brady. He pulls off the upset again. He wins in Lambeau, and he is playing the Super Bowl in his own stadium, which has never happened before. I mean, he's won. We know what he's done with the Patriots. We know how great he's been. As you said earlier, this could be kind of that defining moment. He went to a team. He was able to, as a wild card, get to the Super Bowl in his home stadium. What is Kansas City and Tampa?
I've seen out there that Kansas City would be more like a 2.5 point favorite. Which
I've seen 2.5 to 3. Maybe.
I personally think that's way too high. If Tampa wins this game, they're going to look good somehow.
You would think
in doing it. Right. And they're going home, and I don't think that it's enough of an adjustment for them able to go back to Tampa. I think that again, we don't know how many fans. Well, actually, we do know how many fans. We don't know where those fans are going to be coming from. Obviously, the Super Bowl is not normally, like a home game. It's much more celebrity and
but just
type of fan.
From a familiarity standpoint, he'd be on his own field, their own locker room. I think there's a lot of kind of benefits there. And
I think it comes lower. I know that what's
Agreed.
out there is Kansas City 2.5, but I would tell you that if the Bucs win this game and do so in looking good, which they're probably going to have to do to win this game, I think it comes lower. I think it actually could be Kansas City 1 over Tampa.
How about so now if we look at Pack Bills, that would mean the Pack kind of held true to form. They won at home in Lambeau. They looked good. They beat Brady. We've talked about Rodgers. And then it would mean the Bills went into Arrowhead and kind of pulled off that big upset and beat Kansas City. Now, they would have won 9 straight if that's the case. They've covered the bulk of their games. To win, they would cover this week as well. I'm thinking that game is Buffalo or Green Bay under 3, maybe the 2.5 range as well.
2.5, 3. Somewhere you might see something with money or a 3 even. But I think, again, from a standpoint of...
To me, they could push that game up, though. If we opened it below 3, I could see there being some Packer money getting that game to 3 just because it's Rodgers and Green Bay.
Yeah, just the sheer Buffalo in uncharted waters going up against an experienced Packers team. And it's somewhat the reason why the Chiefs this week, the Bills are just in not where they're normally used to being. But I think that Packers, I'd say Packers 3, 2.5, 3,
I agree.
Comfortably.
And then if we get both dogs, you get the 2 upsets this week. You get Bucs Bills to win. Again, it's the Bucs in their home stadium, but they'd be playing the Bills. What do you think that line would be?
I think it's 2.5. Tampa, maybe a hair lower depending on how they look. But again, if I'm saying Kansas City,
Brady and he comes up, I could see maybe even the 2.5 or 3.
Kansas City's going to be 1 against Tampa, and they're going to be 1 against Green Bay. Again, if you're saying that it's the same team with Tampa essentially winning and going home, so you maybe have to call it the same thing. Maybe it's Tampa 3 or 2.5. And I don't know how, if Tom Brady gets back to the Super Bowl and playing at home, I just don't know how you bet. I don't know how you bet against this guy. It's just like it's written in the stars, and this is it's the magical season for him to, make his a clean exit. If he wins the Super Bowl here, does he come back? I know
he comes back.
I know we're expecting Breeze to announce his retirement. We saw Rivers.
I think he comes back because he had a great year. I mean, 4,500 yards, 35 scores. But look at the team around him. He's got a really good defense. He plays in Tampa, and then he's got weapons like Gronk and Godwin and Mike Evans and Antonio Brown. Now, I think it's a perfect situation for him with that offense. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, you and I.
But
I think he does.
We'll talk about it next week after this week's games and see how close we are on our projections.
It is fun,
and where the lines come. But obviously, this is the time of year that we love the best. And so after these games played on Sunday, we're going to put up the big game right away as soon as the teams are announced. And if it's a blowout, we might actually have the game up before the end of the AFC Championship. And then I know our team of guys, myself and you and Jason Simbal and Bert Sorencione, we're really looking forward to next week.
Propatopia.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Right.
Friday, Saturday, we try and get these packets of props up and have a lot of fun doing it, and really look forward to working with you guys to get those things together and then get those out to the guests. So it'll be Saturday.
It's actually so much fun. I mean, I think we all look forward to it. It's ordering a pizza and kind of having some fun and diving into these numbers and bouncing things off one another and trying to be as creative as we can and think outside the box and put some of these different cross-sport props up. But I think the one unique thing this year will be is that all four of these teams are so offensive-minded that we're going to have a lot of fun with those offensive props.
Yeah, so look for us to our props on that Friday the 29th or Saturday the 30th. That's when we'll have our packet completed and everything that we're going to offer.
And the last page of the
there.
packet is?
It's always next year's Super Bowl.
Right.
So you can jump in already. Maybe where Deshaun Watson's going to end up. And,
I wish I did.
What the key draft picks are going to be.
Could he be wearing orange and blue, maybe?
I don't know, but
We'll see.
those opportunities are going
Right.
to be up, and you're going to get some good odds on those teams because I think we're going to continue to see this Chiefs, this Bills, this Packers team at the top of to win next year's Super Bowl.
Right. As you guys can see, I mean, we have a lot of fun with this. I mean, we're really looking forward to putting all the props up and getting to big games Sunday. So don't forget, as Jay mentioned, what a great time to get signed up for STN Mobile, up to a $100 bonus. All the props will be on the app. It just brings the Racing Sportsbook to the palm of your hand. We'll chat with you guys next week. He's Jason. He's Teaser. I'm Chucky. Good luck this week, guys. We'll see you next week on Bookends.